Both tools are amazing, as are most tools on the market. If there's a tool set on the market today that is being used, it means that it has value.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, does it have the right value for your business? Is it the right tool for your business? Tableau for me is by far the best end user data visualization, data discovery, and self-service BI tool on the market, in my opinion. The reason being is that the barrier to entry is very low. So anyone can pick it up and use it effectively, quite quickly with very little training. And more importantly, there's an amazing community behind the tool that really helps you thrive.
Yeah, our buddy Christopher Scott said that he can train somebody in like 2 or 3 days to be at least base level proficient in Tableau.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the power of the tool. It's very intuitive. It's very simple. I do a 1-day introduction, and by the end of it, my students are building dashboards from data sets they've never seen before. It's quite amazing. And for me, that's the power of the tool. If you are a marketing executive, I don't want you to learn SQL. I really don't, because I'm paying you to be a marketing exec. However, you will need data day to day to help you drive your decisions. So therefore, the tool needs to be easy, quick to use, very visual, can show you information, intuitive, all rolled into one. So for me, Tableau has, in my opinion, the market for that. If you want self-service, no better tool, hands down. Power BI, on the other hand, remember, Power BI is a part of the Microsoft family, which means there's a lot of data infrastructure behind it. There's a lot of security infrastructure. There's a lot of other facets and assets that you can attach to it. Typically, if you're using all forms of Microsoft from Office 365 to SharePoint, if you have all this infrastructure, you'll generally be encouraged to use Power BI because it comes with the package. However, it's not as intuitive. It can be as powerful. You do have a lot of overlap between the two tools. But in my mind, once you start doing some things that are slightly complicated, you have to start playing around with DAX, which does have a learning curve, is not the most intuitive thing. And for a general purpose user in your organization, they won't spend time learning that. So that's quite a barrier to entry.
Yeah, I have a proposal out right now for my first client engagement using Power BI. So to give you guys context, I've been using Tableau for the past 3 years in my consulting practice, but there seems to be a huge demand in Power BI, and I had this company approach me that this is the infrastructure that they want, and I am having a little bit of a surprise in how not as intuitive as Tableau is. Like, for example, you have to go on the marketplace to get a heat map, like a state heat map. Like that took me a few hours to figure that out. Like, I had to go on YouTube and offhandedly someone like talked about the marketplace, and then I had to go on there and find it. To where Tableau, it's all built in, and not only is it built in, but all you do is double click on sales, double click on state, and it builds that automatically.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's some strange usability issues, I have to admit, which again, it could be because I'm coming from a Tableau perspective. But
Right.
then
We are a
again,
little bit biased here.
I've also done Power BI. I've used open source BERT. I've used SSRS. I've used a magnitude of tools, and there are things that do surprise me. A simple example with Tableau is Tableau loves to right click, which I think is fantastic. If you want to do any action, just right click, select your action, and you could do it. You could change colors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Simple example, a gripe of mine with Power BI is that if you want to change the color of a mark, you have to click on the visit itself. You have to go to the side panel. You have to select formatting. You have to find the right drop down, and there's like a 5-step process.
All right. I've got a bit of a self-serving question here.
Sure.
This is a problem that I'm actively trying to figure out in Power BI. How do you put a color spectrum on a map? Can you do that on Power BI?
I believe you can. I think what you need to do is you need to go to color, and then you need to go to advanced color settings, which is those 3 dots in the corner that's kind of hidden for some reason.
Oh, thank you. I've been struggling with this for,
But
hours this week.
you know that kind of those three dots that are at the top that's hidden for some reason.
Hmm.
It's like advanced color formatting. I don't know why it's like that, and it's not just put in your, available for you to see. My guess is that, but I think that's the kind of that's the intuitiveness of Tableau compared to Power BI. Is that with Tableau, I'd say for all the marks, you would have color, size, tooltip, text for everything that you see, and it's very consistent. Whereas if you look at Power BI, each of the visualizations has slightly different options, slightly different ways of working. And you mentioned the gallery on the custom component gallery. That's a nightmare because I've spent time on there trying to download different components, and then it doesn't work. It's not fit for purpose. You delete it. You download another version. It doesn't quite work. You delete it, and I've spent too much time on that gallery to be perfectly fair.
Yeah, it's funny. I just had a notification pop up on my phone saying work on Power BI prototype. So yeah, that's what I'm doing this Sunday, working on this for that client. Um, so essentially, this is what I've heard from multiple people at this point is that Tableau is a data visualization software with data modeling capabilities, and
Mhm.
Power BI is the opposite. It's a data modeling software with data visualization um, components tacked onto that. Is that a fair assessment, or do you have any critique of that assessment?
I wouldn't say it's entirely fair because if you look at what Tableau can do, especially with Tableau Prep, with the fact that you could build basically advanced workflows, you can
Hmm.
build custom SQL statements, and you could build your data sources, which you can then optimize and expose. I would say that so you do have data modeling properties in Tableau. I do believe that if you look at Power BI, there is a lot more modeling capabilities because of the M language. They could do a lot more there. So data modeling is stronger. I wouldn't say it's non-existent in Tableau. I think it's all fit for purpose. But I do believe that the visualization aspect of Microsoft Power BI can be improved a lot. One very important example, if you ever try to create mobile enabled dashboards in Power BI, it's a nightmare.
Hmm. Good to know. I'm glad I am not going to tell my client, yeah, let's use this on your cell phone.
It just you can't overlay objects and you have to fit into grids. You can't just move around and resize. You can't do fit. It's a nightmare.
So there's no snap to grid functionality
Oh,
within.
there is a snap to grid, but you can't define your grid size.
Oh, that's a pain.
Yeah, and you can't overlap objects on top of each other. Again, this is very recent gripe of mine. But yeah, I think there are, like I said, I think for the most part, for 99% of use cases out there, the tool sets overlap. I think the key differentiation is end user or IT. I think if you have a very savvy IT report factory company where you will have centralized IT producing reports that you'll present to end users, and if you're already using the Microsoft stack with Office 365 and surrounding components, Microsoft is probably going to be a decent fit for you. If you're looking to provide data sources to end users where they'll be able to service themselves, where IT is solely concerned with compliance, with data management, data quality, data governance, and then the end users who are closer to the business, who are making business decisions, can service themselves. I believe Tableau is the best tool in that situation. And don't get me wrong, Tableau can also build amazing dashboards with low level security, with all the nuts and bolts that you would expect from the enterprise. This is for me where I believe if Power BI wants to catch up to Tableau from a user fan base, user loving the tool base, I think they'll need to look at the front end, how it works, how do you simplify, how do you actually make it more intuitive. A simple thing that you might try to do is drag a text box onto a Power BI report and try copying that thing. It's a nightmare.
Hmm.
You have to click on the borders. You can't just right click and copy. Whereas a visualization, you can. Something like that, something very simple, is quite annoying that you cannot do.
Yeah, no, that's unfortunate. So here's a slightly pivot. So Tableau does have more, I guess, intuitiveness as far as data visualization goes. If I'm bringing this back to the podcast topic, if you were talking to a college student or someone who was looking to make a career transition into analytics, which would you advise them learning first, or one or the other?
To be perfectly honest, I would say if you're just starting the journey, there's no reason to not try Tableau because one, we have Tableau Public, we have massive community support, and we have community initiatives that would help you quickly ramp up and build your skill sets. So I think that's a great starting point. For the most part, when you join a new organization, typically you won't have a choice on tool sets anyway. However, best practice, data visualization, your eye for design, you can refine it anywhere. So for me, I would say give Tableau a try. Like I said, it's Tableau Public, it's near fully functional, and it's free to use. And it's a great place to actually build a portfolio.
Great. Yeah. Actually, about 3 or 4 days ago, I interviewed Fabio Alamani, who is the analytics manager at Volvo Finance.
Nice.
And so they're currently rolling out Power BI for their organization. But I had one of my students who had a Tableau portfolio actually interview for one of their new opening positions. And I was off air. I kind of talked to him about, well, I mean, this guy did not have any Power BI knowledge. And he was saying, well, if you can learn Tableau, you can learn Power BI. So maybe, and critique this if you will, Tableau would be a great starting point in that, number one, there's a robust community where you can learn. The learning curve's easier. So Tableau is essentially going to train you how to think about data visualization. And then the third point, you can then create a portfolio to then showcase your skills and the time and the effort. Because one thing that Fabio hit on was it was really impressive to him that Chris, the student that I've been working with, had a portfolio already built out. He was saying that a lot of candidates showing up to interviews have not shown the initiative to take that step. And that is really, really impressive from a hiring manager's perspective.
No, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I think if you come up to me and say, I'm a data visualization developer, I can build great dashboards, my first thing would be to say, show me. And with Tableau, you do have the community, you do have the support. And I do believe, firstly, the first step on the ladder is always the hardest. We all know this. Getting that first job, that first position, that first start. And Tableau gives you a great chance for that because you can build an entire portfolio of thousands of dashboards if you want to. And employers will be impressed. We will be able to look at it and think, wow. Now, from a technical understanding, there is a easier learning curve for Tableau for sure. For example, you can build 1,000 dashboards in Tableau. With Power BI, you could try to do the same. You can do the same, but I guarantee you, once you start becoming or trying more complex things, you'll start spending a lot more times in DAX queries, in the M language, in trying to learn the interesting nuances of Power BI, which are essential for the tool. And you'll spend more time there and maybe have fewer dashboards produced. So it is a trade-off. I do believe that once you learn one, there are more important skills than the technical. The eye for design is important to be able to actually see some data and just visualize it in your mind's eye and then to be able to produce it. That's an important skill to understand color balances, understanding how to lay out a dashboard. These are important skills that will stay long after Tableau and Power BI are gone and the new tools in fashion. So there are transferable skills as well.
Interesting. So this is kind of an interesting anecdote related to this. So this past summer, I was flown out to LinkedIn. They found my courses on Udemy on Tableau, but I get out there and the first thing they asked was, hey, can you also teach a course on Power BI? I mean, maybe this is insider knowledge that I shouldn't be taught. Well, I guess this isn't insider knowledge. I've made these courses. The demand for Power BI seems to be growing quite a bit. I mean, I'm having inbound leads now on Power BI where, I'm established in the space as a Tableau specialist or expert, and I'm not getting, well, I'm still getting inbound leads, but it's just interesting to me that I think that the demand for Power BI has shot up quite a bit recently.
And I agree with that. If you look at a lot of trends, it is. And I think it's because of the nature of the job that we do. We are consultants, we are project workers, we are coming in to help solve specific and challenging problems. Tableau is actually a very good tool for businesses to adopt. There will be an initial setup cost, as with most suites and tool sets. However, once it's up and running, your end users are the users. They will use the tool, they will build their own dashboards, and they will do that happily. IT can manage Tableau infrastructure quite happily. I think from a consultant point of view, there's a lot more challenging aspects to building a Power BI infrastructure, and hence there's more project demand there, there's more work there, there's more leads coming from that space. Because I am seeing the same thing.